If you live in New Jersey and want to carry a firearm legally, you're in for a process that's detailed and at times frustrating. But you're not alone. I've gone through a similar process myself, and I've helped others navigate the application process step by step. Today I'm going to break down the entire process of applying for your New Jersey permit to carry a handgun. From paperwork to training to legal landmines, this is your complete 2025 guide. Let's get started. If you're not sure if a New Jersey carry permit is right for you, please watch. I have a playlist. The link is in the description for you to watch videos for new people or people considering carrying in New Jersey. I have a video on there specifically on items that you should be thinking about or considering before applying for a carry permit. Please watch those videos if you're not sure if a carry permit is right for you. Hi folks, I'm Steve from Martell Training Group. I'm a retired New Jersey State Trooper, and I worked in the Firearms Investigation Unit of the State Police. So I'm well familiar with this process and the laws in New Jersey regarding firearm use and firearm acquisition and firearm training, etc. Today we're going to break down the process in 5 steps. Step 1, you confirm your jurisdiction. You must apply through your local police department or your municipal police department. That could include a local state police station, because the New Jersey State Police do patrol a bunch of municipalities in the state. So if your house or neighborhood is patrolled or handled by a state police station, that's the station that you're going to apply through to get your carry permit. Pick the wrong one and your application gets canceled, no refunds. Step 2, gather all the pertinent documents that you're going to need. Here's a list. A recent photo with a light background. Your SBI number or State Bureau of Identification number, that's the number assigned to you when you get fingerprinted. Proof of training using the C-Care protocol, more on that later. 4 non-family references. These are people that are not related to you legally or by blood. Details on each handgun you want to carry. Mental health consent form. And your payment. It's going to be a total at the time of this recording of $226. That's subject to change, of course. Mistakes or missing information can delay or deny your approval, so double check everything before you proceed. Step 3, complete training. Your training must include the New Jersey C-Care protocol, or Civilian Carry Assessment and Evaluation. Now this was changed a couple of times in the beginning since the NYSERPA versus Bruin decision. But if you go on the website, and I'll put links in the description to all these forms and all these documents that I reference in this step-by-step guide, you'll see the live range instruction and what you need to do to qualify. So this training, this C-Care training or requirement, includes live fire qualification and classroom instruction on safe handling and use of force. So that's important. I'm going to talk about that in more detail. You need 2 documents from your certified instructor. The SP-182, which is the proficiency form that says, yes, you were trained by an instructor, and yes, you met the requirements, and you had an in-person use of force block of instruction. And a copy of the instructor's certification. They must provide that to you so you can upload that with your application. If you trained in another state, sorry, that does not count unless your trainer is authorized to train you for New Jersey qualification and training. Step 4, apply online. All the applications are online. They do not take paper applications anymore. They did in the beginning for some people in some jurisdictions. Now everything's completed online. So once you're all ready, you go to njportal.com/NJSP/concealed carry. You fill out your application completely, you upload your documents, you list your handguns, and you make sure every email is correct, especially for your references. If they're wrong or incorrect, there's going to be a delay in processing your application. Okay, so just to take you through it, folks, I type njsp.org. When you type njsp.org, it takes you to nj.gov/NJSP, same location. Click on firearms info, and you scroll down here, it tells you about certain things. There's a change now. If you live in the state police area, your application apparently is going to get processed by the Firearms Investigation Unit. However, for email addresses, so if you have a question, you click here, you get all the email addresses for all the stations. So when you submit your application, it will tell you the Bridgeton station is going to process your application, meaning that if you have any questions, you go to this email address for Bridgeton Station and you email them. And then the Firearms Investigation Unit will get those emails. So they will handle it. But you're not supposed to call the Firearms Investigation Unit. You're supposed to go through your station or your municipal police department. Just a note in here about New Jersey and dual residents of New Jersey. So this applies to New Jersey residents or dual residents. So a dual resident is someone who owns property in New Jersey but lives in another state. And you'll need proof of property ownership in New Jersey, such as a utility bill or a tax bill or record. Out-of-state applicants, if you live in another state, you have to go through one of the 18 New Jersey State Police stations upon submission. And again, depending on where you live geographically, you will be notified which station your application was assigned via your application confirmation page. So that's displayed online after your payment is collected. All right, so when you scroll down, you can see here, you scroll down, the Firearms Investigation Unit does have contact info, but again, if you have your own police department and you've submitted the application with their ORI, then really reaching out to the Firearms Investigation Unit for a question about your application is not going to help you. It's just going to delay because they're going to get back to you and say, reach out to your police department. They're the ones that have access to your application. They're the ones that process your application. They handle the approval or denial. So reach out to your police department. So you see here, the first one is apply for a permit to purchase a handgun or a firearms purchaser ID card. So if you live in New Jersey and you haven't done this, this is the first step. And you click here and there's all information on FARs. And again, I've done a video on this. It'll be in the playlist. If you need instructions on FARs, it's here. So if we go back now, assume you have the FARs, you have the firearms ID card. Now the next step is apply for a concealed carry permit. So you click here, it brings you to all the documents and all the forms that we mentioned. Now remember, I did talk about you have instructions here, detailed instructions. These are all, a lot of these are PDFs you can download. Places where the carrying of a firearm or destructive device is prohibited. So you can click on there. It's updated March of 2025. So it's pretty recent. C-Care Memorandum. This is all changes that were made since NYSERPA versus Bruin. Permit to carry safe handling and proficiency certification. This is the SP 182. Here's the 182A for additional handguns. So if you buy a gun a month later and you want to add it, you need this form. You need to fill it out and update it with your police department. Firearm safety and awareness. This is a PowerPoint you can download, and they recommend that you go through this PowerPoint before you apply because there is a pretty good amount of slides to go through. So that everybody needs to complete. Use of force training. I think it's about a 10-page document, and this is information that needs to be covered by an instructor every 2 years for renewal as well, and this has to be done in person at the range for your renewal. It's use of force training. This document depicts the areas and statutes that need to be understood or known for use of force in New Jersey. C-Care, protocol, civilian carry assessment and range evaluation. It's all right here in this PDF. It talks about the course of fire and the training that's required. Here's the SP66, which is the consent for mental health record search. Now this form, this is done automatically if you're a New Jersey resident. Now if you've lived in a different state, you're going to have to print these out and submit these as well. So then they check back, I believe it's 10 years. So if you lived in either of these states or a different state that's not listed here, you're going to have to get those mental health forms and sign them, and basically it's a request so they can actually do a mental health search in these other states. New Jersey, it happens automatically. I believe if it's still that process the way it was initially, The mental health was done statewide automatically if you applied in New Jersey. However, for out of state, you need these forms. So click here and it actually brings you to the concealed carry permit site. And again, you need to have all your documents to upload and all your information here, like your SBI. It talks about the renewal right here. Approved concealed carry permits are due for renewal every 2 years. The application can be submitted up to 4 months before the expiration date. To avoid lapse in your permit to carry a handgun, you should consider applying 3 to 4 months prior to expiration. I would recommend reaching out to your police department and see what they say, because if they say it's only going to take us 2 weeks to process it, then there's no reason to do it 4 months ahead of time. Renewal applications can be filed online for concealed carry permits that were issued through this system. So if your carry permit was not done through the online system, so for example, if you filed a paper application, if you go to file online now, it's not going to be a renewal. Technically it's a renewal, but the system doesn't have you in there, so you're going to have to apply as an initial. If you've already used the online system for an initial and now you're coming around for the second year and you're going to renew, you're already in there, you already did your initial in the online system, now you can click on that renewal button and you'll be able to do the renewal. So here's the 2 buttons here, start initial application, and it does ask, we're not going to go through the whole thing because I'm not really applying, but you see it's got some instructions on here. If you're a dual resident, you have to have proof. If you're out of state and you're not a dual resident, you have to select no. It gives you instructions right here. Just some warnings: if you put the incorrect ORI, your application gets withdrawn and your fees are non-returnable. So you have to answer these questions, and that's how, if you're an armored car company employee, you're going to need that letter from the employment letter from the company that you're applying to. And then it gives you instructions on the photo you have to have within the last 6 months. It should resemble your driver's license or passport. And there you have it, folks. So just go through, and of course you're going to be honest with your answers and accurate and have all the information at hand, because I think after 15 minutes of no activity, I believe it times out and you have to start over. Step 5, know the restrictions. Now let's talk about the sensitive places. New Jersey has a list of places where carrying concealed is banned, even with a permit to carry. These include schools, government buildings, courthouses, bars, hospitals, and more, many more locations. So even a diner, and I've done videos on this, even a diner that serves alcohol is off limits, even with a valid carry permit. Now some of these bans are currently blocked in federal court pending the outcome or final decision, but others are still active and enforceable. So it's up to you to figure out or learn where you can and cannot carry currently. There are documents on the New Jersey State Police website that show current court cases. There's a couple of preliminary injunctions. Some stuff has been blocked, some stuff is allowed to be enforced. So you have to understand where you can and cannot carry. Now let's talk about renewals and name changes. If you change your name legally, say you get married and you change your name, you have to change your state ID, such as your driver's license, first. Do that through motor vehicles. Change that first, then you go through FARS, the Firearms Application and Registration System. I've done a whole video on this process for getting a firearms ID card or a permit to purchase a handgun. I'll put a link to that video as well, but it's also in the playlist for people that are new or beginners in the state of New Jersey. Please watch that video for information on FARS. Firearms Application and Registration System, that's where most New Jersey residents begin if you don't have a firearms ID card. The firearms ID card allows you to buy long guns in New Jersey, also allows you to buy ammunition. A lot of shooting ranges require you to have a firearms ID card before they'll let you to shoot at a range, even if it's a range that you visit to rent a gun, for example. But if you need to change your name, you need to do it through the FARS first. Get that new ID card with your new changed name, and then you can wait, I think they say 3 days. After 3 days, when the system's updated, you can go ahead and apply for your carry permit with your new legally changed name. For renewals, folks, I need to touch on this. It requires all new documents, but it's basically the same process as the initial. Don't get confused or misled with that, oh, it's a renewal, I don't have to do certain things. The only thing you really don't have to do for a renewal is get fingerprinted. But let me make this note. Now, there is in the statute, it allows the chief of police to require fingerprints if there's some issue with your background check or they're not sure of your identity. So if you've had some issue with your fingerprints during the first process, you may be required to get fingerprinted during the renewal. I'm just putting it out there in case you are one of those rare people, and it doesn't happen often, but if there was some issue with your background or your name matched somebody else, they thought you were somebody else, there's some issue with identifying exactly who you are, they're not sure, the chief can say you need to get fingerprinted again. But in general, you do not have to get fingerprinted. Your SBI, your State Bureau of Identification number that everyone gets assigned when they're fingerprinted, that number is in the system. You just have to do the 212A, the SP 212A, which happens when you submit your application. They do your criminal history check through that number, through that SBI number. So the only difference really for most people is they don't have to get fingerprinted again. You still need to submit the 4 references. You still need to do the application. Now, training for renewals. I get a lot of questions on this. I think there's a lot of confusion. It says right on the instructions for concealed carry renewals in New Jersey that classroom instruction and target training are not required for renewal applications who completed training within the last 2 years. If you submit your renewal application before your current concealed carry permit expires and you meet the standards noted in the C-CARE protocol, you still need to upload your training certificates when you apply. So there's a lot of confusion with this, folks. A lot of people think, I don't need to qualify, I'm still good. So yeah, your police department might take that, it might go through, but keep in mind that after that 24 months is up, your qualification that you shot at for that course of fire at the range is now expired. Now you could be out there potentially without a valid qualification. Now, police officers qualify twice a year, every 6 months. If you're carrying under the RPO, you're qualifying twice a year. Civilian carry permits are once every 2 years. So yeah, there's been some confusion with the training because it changed in the beginning since the NYSERPA versus Bruin U.S. Supreme Court decision. There were a couple of changes along the way. The C-CARE protocol is currently the final training requirement. I'm just pointing this out because if your police department accepts it, some people say, well, I don't need to qualify again. Why would I pay an instructor? Because then a month or two later, when it actually is over 24 months, now your qualification is technically expired, because the requirement is that you qualify and get use of force training every 2 years. So I'm just pointing that out. So when you know you're getting close, my recommendation would be find an instructor and just do the qualification and then get your use of force training, of course, for your renewal. Legal warnings. I have to mention, folks, that falsifying a firearms application in the state of New Jersey is a third-degree crime. So this includes lying about your address, lying about maybe putting a firearm down that you don't legally own, lying about your criminal history or something that's happened in your past. Also, if you acquire a new handgun, after you submit your application, you're supposed to submit a new SP, updated SP 182A, basically adding on that additional handgun that you intend to carry. In closing, carrying a firearm in New Jersey legally comes with responsibility and a fair share of bureaucracy. But with the right preparation, it's manageable. Stay legal, stay alert, and train often. For more information on personal safety and situational awareness, check out my book on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for more information. Also consider checking out my online course. It's over 23 hours of instruction, including a focus on New Jersey use of force. Stay sharp and stay safe. See you in the next video.